How's it going, everybody? Landon with the Truck Boss Show. Thank you so much for joining us today on this show. Next to my dear friend Isela.
Hola, hola muchachos, ¿qué tal?
I never know what she's saying, but it's a lot of fun, I promise. And speaking of fun, today's show is going to be a lot of fun.
Yes, it is. We always have fun on the show.
We do. We have a ton of fun, and we always like to start off at the top with the news, move on into some great segments. But before that, we want to be able to share incredible news when it comes to the flood of information that's coming in through Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, hearing directly from you about the headlines, topics, people that we need to meet. Isela, talk a little bit more on how important it is to start getting a part of it and following.
Well, yes, it is very important because that's what keeps us going. We cannot do this without you. So anytime that we hear from our people, our viewers, our listeners that are telling us, hey, we want to hear about this, or we love the event that you went to, I mean, that helps us out and it helps you out.
Absolutely. We want to make sure we're covering the things that mean the most to you and more. And at the same time, if you're watching this for the first time or you watch our content every week and you're not following us, you need to do it right now. Press pause and go follow. And where can they follow?
You can follow us on Facebook, on YouTube, and on Instagram.
That's it. Just search Truck Boss Show. You're good to go. It's crucial. We need to hear from you and we need you to follow.
That's
Pretty
right.
clear message?
Yes.
All right, let's move on to the news. What's going on in Oregon is a big deal. Truckers, loggers are pushing back on climate proposals that they say are going to impact their business in a big way. I'll talk about that in just a second. But those who are actually passing this through say that $10 million in investment is going to be great for this the state, new infrastructure for the state, as well as new clean energy jobs that are going to be high paying and reach remote people that aren't getting a part of those jobs. That's what they're saying, but truckers are believing that this is going to hurt their business, shut them down, as well as it's going to actually increase fuel prices by 22 cents. This information is going to be in the comment thread, Isela. Big topic. A lot of people may not know what's going on in Oregon, but they need to read this article, and it's going to be in the comment thread.
It is very important because gas prices are going to go up, and I know that a lot of people are probably not going to be too happy about that.
You know what I love about it, though, is that truckers' voices are being heard. They're actually driving around the capital. They're in the state capital of Oregon. It's driving a lot of news on the West Coast and moving across the nation.
Yes. Well, speaking of moving on, let me tell you that this is a big question. What do you want most to see, okay, from an hours of service rewrite? Overdrive just launched a new poll. And here are some of the results that we actually got back. So at least 29.8% want more flexibility. That's generally what a lot of people are asking for. Now, 22% removal of mandatory 30-minute break provision and a return to pre-14-hour rule hours of reg. That was only 18%. Now, Landon, I could say that it would be nice if they would leave their regs alone.
That's right.
But it is what it is.
You know, it's funny, about 18% of those who have taken that poll said the same dang thing. Let me say that. You know, we got to go right through the flow.
Yeah, that's just
but
your
they
accent.
say just leave it alone because now we're used to it. And
Yes,
so it's going to be
they are.
interesting. We want to see you go to it, and it's going to be in the comment thread where you can be a part of the poll.
But you can find it, you can actually go on overdriveonline.com and you can take the poll yourself.
That's it. That's it. We want to hear from you. Get a part of the conversation. Comment, like, share. Let us know right now during the show what you think about hours of service. Open, and here's the other thing. I know we're talking a little bit too much about this, but there's going to be an open comment area that you're going to be able to go to FMCSA website and speak directly to the government regarding this. So we're going to keep you on the know.
Yes, and it's very important for you to speak up. You've been doing it, keep doing it.
Exactly.
Keep it up.
So it's time to move on to the great interviews that we've got lined out for today's show. You know, Niki had the opportunity to sit down with Todd McCann of his podcast, Trucker Dump, where he actually goes into depth how his story came together. He launched his podcast, launched his blog, and what's coming next. Check this out.
Hey everyone, Niki here at the Truck Boss Show. We are joined by our new friend Todd McCann, who is a driver and creator of Trucker Dump podcast and author of 2 ebooks. Thanks for joining us today, Todd.
Oh, I'm pumped to be here.
Awesome. So, Todd, I know that you have been you're a driver. You've been driving for about 21, 22 years now, and you have this pretty popular podcast. Why did you start a podcast? Why podcast?
Well, I have loved podcasts ever since I first heard them. I was an avid listener, and I've got plenty of time to listen as a truck driver, right? I mean, 11 hours to drive, and it's all free, and I'm a cheapskate, so that works great for me. But, and eventually I had this blog, and I had started the blog just to get stuff off my mind, and just put it out there. And then eventually I thought, you know what? I love podcasts. Why don't I just make one myself? And that's what I did. I decided to turn my blog into a podcast, and it's been history since then. I turned the blog into a podcast in 2012.
So, what topics do you particularly like to cover or that you are passionate about?
Well, it's basically all trucking stuff. I'm very passionate about uh, making drivers appear better to the public. Putting forth a good image, because boy, we have major problems with that.
Unfortunately.
Yeah, and I'm always I hate to use the word preaching, but I'm basically preaching, the good rule, the golden rule. Treat others like you'd like to be treated yourself. A lot of times us truckers, we treat each other horribly too. And so how do we even expect to get respect for ourselves if we're not respecting our fellow drivers? How are we going to get it from the public? So I address that a lot. My podcast, I cover lots of different stuff, though. I do a lot like a news segment, and then we have truckers come on and they tell us where their favorite place is to eat. Which is cool. They get to with a truck, or close to walking distance at least. And then I love to answer listener feedback. And of course, there's a main topic of my podcast, which is more of a scripted thing. It's basically the blog post I write about, and it can be anything from, how to help new truckers out to winter driving tips from an Alaskan truck driver.
So, what has been your favorite podcast that you've done, or maybe like a special guest that you really enjoyed having on?
I really enjoyed the winter driving tips podcast with Kevin Lowry. He's an Alaskan trucker, and if you're gonna get winter tips from a driver, get them from somebody from Alaska.
Oh, yeah.
But he was one of my originals, and we talked for 2 hours. It was a 2-hour podcast. It was really long, but it was jam-packed full of information. And I know him quite well, so we had a good time cutting up with each other and stuff like that. Go and check that out.
Yeah.
I believe that was episode 116. Yeah. So.
Nice. So then what makes you different, Todd? What is going to make truckers out there want to listen to your podcast and read your blog?
Well, one thing I hear right off the bat from a lot of listeners who write in, they thank me for keeping it clean. It's not an explicit podcast. I might say a PG-13 word every once in a while or something, or broach a PG-13 topic, but for the most part, it's clean. I also think that, there's just so much whining and complaining in this industry, and I like to try to put a positive spin on things if I can and be upbeat. I got an iTunes review the other day that said, Todd McCann is seems like a really nice guy, almost too nice, kind of creepy. And I thought, okay, well, I'll be creepy if that's fine, if I'm a nice guy. But I don't know. I think people just enjoy a good point of view instead of always looking at everything negative. I mean, I've had my podcast, I've had some called Hell Week, where I've had just a horrible weeks. And, I explain that, but then I always try to spin it somehow into, the positive message I got out of this,
That's right. That is awesome, Todd. I think that bringing positive light to the industry is a very important thing. And I think we need more people out there like you doing that, because that's what we strive to do here at the Truck Boss Show as well, is to bring the heartwarming stories and the positive light to the truckers out there. Because if it wasn't for you all, we wouldn't have what we have today, being hauled in on the back of those trucks. And a lot of people take advantage of that or take it for granted. And everyone at the Truck Boss Show appreciates you for what you're doing. of bringing that positive light. And for all of our viewers out there that would like to check out your podcast or read some of your ebooks, where can they find that information?
Everything about me is on abouttruckdriving.com. It's pretty straightforward. You can also search for my books online at Amazon, but there's links through abouttruckdriving.com over to Amazon or Barnes & Noble or whatever you want to get. The blog's there too. So on the blog and the podcast.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Todd. We really appreciate you taking the time to talk with us about your podcast and your blog today. And we wish you luck with everything in the future. And that's it for this Truck Boss Show. See you next time.
Big thank you to Niki, doing a great job as always. Big thank you to Todd McCann of Trucker Dump. Check out his podcast. Plus, Niki's bringing a lot more on Truck Boss Show extras. So, Isela, great stuff. We always talk about YouTube, but it's great to talk about a podcast.
Yes, that's always good stuff. You know, technology these days, you can do so much.
No, across the nation, truckers either XM radio or they love podcasts. So obviously Todd's doing a great job.
He is. Well, Landon, moving on. I had the opportunity to do a Skype interview with our friend Vince Archuleta with an awesome product, the VSA Plugsaver. Let me tell you that this product is amazing. He is going to explain to us what it does and how it can help you with your electrical issues. So check this video out.
How's it going, everyone? This is Isela here with the Truck Boss Show, and today we have a special guest with us. We have Vince. He is with VSA Plugsaver. Vince, thank you for being with us on the show.
No problem.
Vince, you have an interesting story, but you also have an awesome product. So tell us a little bit about your product.
Well, basically, it's an electrical safety strap that secures the pigtail housing, takes a lot of the wiggle out of the plug, and keeps the pigtail held tight into itself. You don't want an operation going down the road so you don't end up with flickering lights and the plug falling out and things like that. Part of what led me to it was having those issues, whether or not it's like flickering lights going down the road every time you hit a bump because your pigtail's loose. I've had them fall out, drag on the ground, and then you can't hook it back up once that end drags on the ground and gets all messed up. And it always seems to happen at a bad time. You know, it's raining outside, you know, it's snowing, blizzard. And that's kind of what made me think about it.
Tell me about your 2009 story. You was out in the blizzard and you had that issue, right?
Yeah, I was hooking up in our yard where we had our trucks, and it was just snowing and blowing. I mean, there's probably already 6 inches of snow on the ground, and I get hooked up, and I start heading out of the yard, and like a lot of times, you know, you hit a pothole in the yard, and the next thing you know, my lights are blinking, and so then I got to stop, get out, you know, secure my pigtail with a bungee cord or something else I can find to secure it with so it stops blinking, because you want to have lights when you're running in bad weather. And so, you know, I remember getting out and it was just kind of, you know, a bad night, you know, to my start. And I remember looking at the back of the semi thinking, you know, there should be something here. And that's kind of what got me start to think about the product was, you know, there should be something there all the time so I don't have to look for a bungee cord or, you know, something else to secure it with. Well, and it's hard, you know, like some people have gate times, like FedEx drivers. A lot of them guys have gate times. So that means they have a certain amount of time to get out of the yard and go on the road. Well, if they miss their gate times, they get put behind. So that's, you know, money for the company because that's time off their driver. And then it's shop time that they had to pay for messing around with a simple light malfunction, loose cord, stuff like that. So it costs time all the way down the road. And the bottom line with time and truck driving, you know, you can't afford to waste time when the only thing that pays is the load.
Now tell me about the process of whenever you come up with your idea on creating the Plugsaver. How was that?
Well, you know, I made the product actually in a motel room, Super 8 in Casper in 2011, September 2011. And then I held on to it for like 2 years. Didn't do anything with it. It was laying around the house or in my sock drawer. I showed it to some of my friends and stuff, but never did anything with it. And I remember one of my buddies telling me one day, because we were talking about it, and I was like, yeah, I just wonder if it's out there. I wonder if there's anything like this exists. And he told me, he says, you know, the answer is always no if you don't ask. You know, it was a fairly smooth process, I thought, because we had some good people working with us. You know, Glacier Lakes Rubber and Plastic in South Dakota, which is the manufacturer of our product, and my friends Jim and Art, Tanner, everybody that's a part of the Plugsaver, they really helped it out and you know, made it work well for us in the way that it has.
I mean, it's a safety thing. So if anything can be prevented and your product is there to do that, I think that's awesome and amazing. And if they're interested in it, where can the product be found?
You can look us up online at vsaplugsaver.com. All the information's online.
Thank you so much, Vince, for your time. We really do appreciate it. And honestly, good luck from us here from the Truck Boss Show with your product. And I look forward to featuring it on our show as well. So,
All right, thanks.
Big thanks to Vince, Landon, the Plugsaver. I think it's an awesome product. It actually, it reduces time, and a lot of our drivers, you know, they're out in certain type of weather conditions. They don't have to worry about pulling over because their lights are flickering. They're not working at all, anything like that. And it's so simple and easy to install and use.
And it is, and Vince is such a great guy. His company's awesome, and what's cool about this is that you're going to actually do a product review, go a little bit more in depth about it, and we're going to put that on Truck Boss Show Extra, so you want to stay tuned for that.
That's right. You don't want to miss that out. And also, you're going to have the opportunity to win a Plugsaver yourself.
That's awesome. Love the giveaways, and here on
always-
the Truck Boss Show, we're pretty
We
darn
got to
good
show
at that.
some love to all our drivers out there.
That's right, that's right. So get a part of it. Hey, if you already have this product or something similar, let us know in the comment thread. We want to hear from you. Post the pictures from your truck. That'd be cool. That'd be really cool. So, speaking of getting part of the Truck Boss Show tribe, we have launched Boss Nation, to where you actually can go to our fan page, click on the groups, request to be a part of it, answer 3 questions, and get inside content that you're not going to find anywhere else.
That's going to be some real stuff right there.
And I got to tell you, when Niki and Isela go live inside Boss Nation, you don't want to miss it.
We have fun.
It is a lot of fun.
But they get to see who we really are behind the scenes. Of course, you know, we're on the show. We bring like the good juice. You know what I mean?
Well, true. And at the same time, how hard we work to do this. And it's so important. But at the same time, lastly, we actually go into kind of a raw, authentic conversation about the important topics, so we can just have a live conversation with you. So go to the fan page, request to be a part of Boss Nation. It's growing fast, and you got to be a part of it.
Yeah.
But
talking about fast.
Exactly,
Talking about
not
fast.
last but least, it's incredible what's going to be happening tomorrow. Why don't you talk about it?
You know what? We're getting ready to be in Lebanon, Missouri. We've been talking about it. We've been hyping it up. We're super excited to get to go out there. You know what? I'm looking forward to the big rig races. We're also going to do a meet and greet that Air Dog's going to be hosting the day before, which is going to be on Friday. And then, of course, the big race on Saturday. I think that I'm ready to see you in a truck. We want to see what that's going to be about.
That's right.
And we're going to go live.
Yeah, I want to go live when it comes to, if the Wi-Fi, the signal's good enough, we're going to go live as they go up to 100 miles per hour with the Bandit Series Big Rig Race. It's going to be a blast. We've got a lot of special guests, a lot of giveaways. The entire Truck Boss Show team is going to be there. So if you're in Lebanon, let's see you tomorrow as well as on Saturday. And you're just going to see an incredible time, and we're going to bring it right to you.
And Niki and I are going to be out there with the Bandit girls and our Truck Boss gear. We're going to be out there chunking shirts. And we're going to have a lot of fun.
I'm just going to be standing in the background letting you both just do your thing.
Yeah,
I hope I can keep up.
But we always have fun.
That's right.
We're fun. We're fun.
And
so nothing to worry about.
Speaking of fun, so we'll want to see you there. Friday and Saturday, Bandit Series Big Rig Race, going to be a blast. But speaking of fun, this show's been fun as always.
Always.
And if you don't know why we do this,
Because you're the boss.